And that is technology on the hot seat. The Department of Justice announcing its plan to probe social media companies and any potential stifling of certain viewpoints on those platforms. This is executives from Facebook and Twitter took to the Hill yesterday to answer questions about election interference.
We were too slow to spot this and too slow to act. That is on us. This interference was completely unacceptable. It violated the values of our company and of the country we love. So our security teams have been in close contact. There's still room for improvement there. I think we can do more to formalize the process. We've had a series of meetings, and I think we're going to continue to work, and we can do better.
Mr. Dorsey.
This is not something we want to compete on. We hosted our peer companies at our offices just in the past 2 weeks on this very topic. And helping to increase our cadence of meeting and also what we can share. If there were an occurrence, we would immediately look to alert our peer companies and this committee and our government law enforcement partners.
Joining us right now is Porter Bibb. He is Media Tech Capital Partners managing partner. Porter, great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good to be here.
Your thoughts, your reaction to how they did yesterday?
It was inconsequential. They were defending their own policing of the indiscretions and illegalities that occur every day on social media. The real issue, however, is regulation. It's coming. It's first going to happen in Europe. ADPR is working in Europe, and it's going to get tougher and tougher, and that will set the standard for regulating these businesses here. Nobody in Washington right now, the big issue with the hearings yesterday was they were asking, what are you doing to police yourselves? No one knows how to regulate the business, and they have to look to Europe for the model.
So what kind of regulation would you expect to be coming, and how does that impact the growth story for these companies?
Well, essentially, these social media companies like Facebook, Google, and all of the rest of them, Twitter, they're all really public carriers. They are using the internet, which is spectrum, which is public domain, and they should be regulated just the way a telecom is or a broadcast network is, and they will be.
That's the key, because they never saw themselves as media companies,
right.
But they are very
That's
much
right.
media companies.
Even though the second word in social media is media.
Thank you.
Porter, so what infrastructure does the government need, in our case, our government, but maybe we can take a page out of what Europe's doing, to police their activity once you put the regulations in place? Does the existing telecom infrastructure support that business?
No, the big problem in Washington is that all the regulators need to hire some teenagers to tell them how these systems work, because nobody understands the inner workings and mechanics of social media technology. And with respect to PCW, I was really shocked when Facebook said, oh, well, we police ourselves, have a bi-monthly audit by PCW to tell us what's going on. And I mean, that's outrageous. And you saw the stocks all go down yesterday, and they'll continue to go down, because this is also going to cost them a lot of money to regulate and police themselves. And nobody, I mean, they're making gigantic margins right now. They're going to come back to earth very quickly once regulation sets in.
Haven't we actually seen already Facebook talking about hiring thousands of people to monitor their site?
20,000 people, that's
exactly.
right. Yeah.
And to your point, that's going to be pretty costly. My question is, how can it even get close to the job that they're trying to do? Because they have 1 billion hits. I mean, the number of people going on Facebook, posting things, pictures and stories, it's unmanageable.
Well, no, technology actually is up to that task and challenge. AI is really smarter and more capable than most of us can ever appreciate. What the problem is that they don't want regulation, so they're trying to do everything they can to fend that off.
They're not trying. Google didn't even show up. Google thinks that it will win this. Google, which controls 90% of search, and between Facebook and Google, they control 60%, about 2/3 of all online advertising. Wow. Google is the big problem in terms of censorship. You've seen the censorship of the Prager University videos, including one on actual freedom of speech. I think that was one that Kimberly Strassel did that was taken down by Google. And there are people's hands involved in this censorship. It's not algorithms. They're as clear and crystal as a cup of coffee when it comes comes to telling individuals how we decide what goes and what stays.
But somebody sets up the algorithm. They can't just say this is an algorithm. But then it programs the algorithm.
But it's beyond that, because if the community on YouTube, which is owned by Google, if users flag a video as objectionable, Google guidelines require an internal review team to remove them. Doug Weed, who's been a frequent guest on this program, wrote a column on the Federalist about this. He tried to buy an ad for a video of him doing an interview on this network, and they refused to post it. It was deemed hate speech because the crawl on the bottom of the video, it said Trump witch hunt, referred to, it was a quote from President Trump about Mueller, and it said witch hunt. And there was an individual that Doug Weed's people spoke to at YouTube, a ploy of Google, that said that was hate speech. So I think that there's a lot going on in terms of control, and Google's probably gotten too big for the government to do anything about it at this point, just like Microsoft.
Well, you would think that these hearings alone could be a catalyst for change at these companies. But let me tell you, I mean, if Google's not going to show up and you've got all of these questions about how these algorithms are put together, they are going to face a heavier government hand. My question is, if they've been growing 30, 40%, what does that mean for the growth rate? Because that changes the reason to own these stocks.
Well, if you're
from an investment
a Facebook investor, Maria, there is an answer. Instagram is growing unbelievably fast, and it's going to become a serious competitor to Amazon because it's starting to do e-commerce. So you see a video on Instagram, and now you can buy the product.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting.
And I wouldn't be shocked if Facebook spun Instagram off. It could be, from an investor point of view, as big or bigger an entity than Facebook.
And we shouldn't worry about shadow banning or these same issues with Instagram. Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey answered questions yesterday about shadow banning, admitted there were mistakes made. Listen to this. I'm going to get your take on it.
Recently, we failed our intended impartiality. Our algorithms were unfairly filtering 600,000 accounts, including some members of Congress, from our search autocomplete and latest results. We fixed it.
600,000 accounts, Porter. What were you saying?
Yeah. Well, 42% of Americans, not globally, but of people in the U.S. using Facebook, have deleted it from their phones. That is very telling, because it's not only the manipulation of the content on these social media sites, it's the privacy that they cannot protect. And that's a big, big issue. And that's why I think Instagram is probably going to be the survivor of Facebook going forward. Have
you changed your position? Are you telling clients to do anything different if they're holding these tech stocks?
Well, no, I think that near-term tech is still driving the market. So from a near-term basis, you've got to stay in there. And the other issue that you brought up is China, and they didn't want to talk about that yesterday. None of those social media companies, because ironically, China has its own Twitters and Facebooks that we've never heard of, and they've never heard of Facebook and Twitter in China. Yeah. Those companies in the PRC are bigger than anything in the U.S. except for Google.
Exactly. Porter, great to see you this morning. Thanks so much.